Good morning, traders. It is Monday, April 25th. Let's start the video off with my last pick. That's how I like to start every one of these videos off. I want to show you what we did previously and where the stock is now. Then you can gauge the performance. Then you can gauge how effective this trading system is. So Alcoa was my last pick. I liked it on the short side. You can see how the stock had gapped down after an earnings release, continued to float lower. Let's move forward. This is where the video came out right about here, 2.5 hours into the open Thursday morning. Let's see what happened. Another winner. That was a $7 winner on the underlying stock. It moved about 10% in the course of a day and a half. And this came when the market was still challenging the 200-day moving average. So it looks like it's going to break out to the upside. We are short, and the stock performs like this. It's what it's all about. So now we're going to go through, we're going to take a look at the market, we're going to get our bearings. This is going to be a fairly long video because I'm going to show you how to find trades when everything is falling apart. You should be looking at the long side, not that you're going to be trading it, but that you're going to be waiting and you are going to be prepared so that when we get that market bounce, you'll be able to get into stocks that are showing the biggest relative strength. Let's get to it. So this is what the market has done. Beautiful signals right there. Awesome short, all generated off the 1OP indicator. Never even got long last Friday. Just beautiful stuff. Let's go into that daily chart, take a look at what's happening. So we have the market coming up and testing the 200-day moving average. That was where the rubber met the road. We were either going to break out above the 200-day moving average and perhaps even the 100-day moving average after strength right here that we saw last Tuesday, market closing on its high. Everything looked fantastic. We had a little bit of a reprieve ahead of Tesla earnings, and then Tesla beats, and you can see, or at least the guidance was extremely strong. Everybody liked Tesla. The stock rallied, market gapped higher, and you can see how that enthusiasm Thursday started to wane. And I mentioned to all of my members, do not buy this open. We need to make sure that not only do we poke through it, we want to run through it. That would be a sign that buyers are excited here and that earnings season could unfold very nicely. There's always optimism going into earnings season. Look what happened as the day unfolded. Uh-oh. All the bullish speculators who piled in right here got flushed out, and then we saw follow-through selling. This morning, we're seeing a 40-point drop in the S&P 500 as I'm recording this. It is not going to be a pretty morning. You do not want to be out there picking a bottom. It's not good for trading, and picking bottoms is also not good for personal hygiene reasons. You do not pick bottoms. You must wait for that support. How will I know that there's support? Why would I even be considering a bullish position? Well, I'm simply getting my ammunition ready so that when the market bounces, I know which stocks have been able to tread water during this absolute bloodbath. Well, gee, Pete, I'm running some searches. I'm looking at stocks. Everything is coming up bearish. I can't find anything good on the long side. Well, you have to get a little bit creative. And first and foremost, the searches are doing what they're supposed to. They're keeping you on the right side of the action. And right now, that's on the short side. So we've got this big drop here. The one thing that we do know about the market is that it's been super, super choppy. And we've seen action on both sides. So the market comes down, it tests this low, and then zoom. Look at these green candles in here. Look at these red candles in here. We can expect that we're probably going to see some support in here. We have mega cap tech earnings this week. Apple, Amazon, Google, Facebook. Big week ahead of us. So who knows how those reactions might go. I actually think the mega cap tech stocks might perform fairly well. So we should see a little bit of support in here, but overall, there's a lot of nervousness about the FOMC meeting coming up in May. So the closer we get to May, I think the more those nervous jitters start to surface and perhaps even get more exaggerated. So we do have support around the 430 level. We've seen that before. Support, 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 support. So we're through that level. We're at it right now. We've also seen a lot of support down here around the 420 level and even down around 416. So this morning, we're probably going to open somewhere in the maybe 423 level. I believe that we're going to see a pretty hard drop and then we're going to bounce. So the first caveat, the thing that I talk about always is market first, market first, market first on a short term trading basis. So let's firm up this scenario. On a short term trading basis, I'm talking about maybe carrying an overnight position for sure from a day trading standpoint. That's short term. Gee, I want to do a trade for the next 2 or 3 weeks, Pete. What can I find? Nothing. You don't want to be out there right now taking a long position with this kind of market selling. And I don't believe that it's over. So we're simply looking for an opportunity when the market takes a breather, has a little pause, finds some support, starts to rally back. Well, how will I know when that happens? Here's the first caveat to the trade and the most important one because the market drives all of our trading decisions. So the market's going to open 40 points lower today, Monday, April 25th. When the market is able to recover the losses from today and it is able to get back above 426, which is where it closed Friday, then we can be pretty certain that we have some type of bullish hammer. Sell, 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 buy, 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 and we're going to have a bullish hammer, and that should put in a little bit of a low so that the market continues to bounce. You do not want to overstay your welcome. This is heavy selling. So let's take a look and let's just go in when the market's having its head handed to it right now. Let's go in and run some searches and try and find some stocks that would be good. So what might we find in this type of environment? What kind of scenario could possibly interest us? That's the type of thinking that you have to do. When all the searches are coming up bearish and you see a sea of red everywhere, what kind of trade might make sense? Well, Pete, you always preach to us that we should buy relative strength. Yes, we should buy relative strength, and that would be a fantastic search. We want to know which stocks are currently holding up well relative to the market. Well, when I run my relative strength search, Pete, I'm finding tons of stocks that are about to announce earnings. So I don't really want to take those positions because I don't want to be forced out of the trade knowing that the company announces earnings the next day or the day after that. That is very, very fair, and I would be in the same position. I don't hold over earnings ever. So why do I want to be in a trade where I have time constraints? Gee, this trade has to work out right now, or I have to exit. Well, the market's all over the place, so I don't want to paint myself into that corner. Plus, companies that are going to be announcing earnings have extremely high option implied volatilities. So if you're trading options, those options aren't going to move very much. It's kind of like slogging through bubble gum. You just can't get anywhere very fast. So what would be a really good conclusion for us to reach? Hey, there are companies that have announced earnings, and if that stock has relative strength right now, there's a good chance that companies, institutions like that number, and they're supporting that stock at a time when we have a market meltdown. These companies have announced earnings, and they have relative strength. That sounds like a pretty good thesis because relative strength helps us identify institutional buying. So let's keep the search really easy. We're going to go back, going to use custom search within Option Stalker. This is a platform that I provide to everyone. You can find links to it in the description area of the video. I'm going to mark option liquidity better than -3. Anything better than -3 to 15, these are going to be liquid options. You can get 10 and 20 lots off, no problem. I'm also going to be looking for companies that have released earnings. So these are post earnings plays. I do not have to worry about getting out of the position because it's about to announce earnings. They've already done that, and the reaction has been good. And we know that because the stock has been able to retain its relative strength versus the S&P 500 on a daily basis. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Earnings, April 11th to April 24th. I could go back and I could increase this value, go back even further, maybe April 1st. The company is announced. Let's take a look at what we've got. These are the stocks that we're going to be knocking through. I also wanted to make sure that the stock had some relative strength, meaning it was above some of the major moving averages. And so I could go in and I could mark all of these boxes as well. So let's run the search. First of all, you're going to see an extensive list. So it takes you 5 minutes to go through this list. Click, 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 click. Sometimes you're going to find some stocks that have formed a base over a longer period of time. I don't like buying stocks in the lower right-hand corner of the chart so much. I would prefer to have them in the upper quadrant of the range. So just to make this a shorter video, I'm going to go through and I'm going to be looking for stocks that are above their 50-day moving average, their 100-day moving average, and their 200-day moving average. Cast a wide net and then draw it in. This is a nice manageable little list. We're going to click through. We're going to take a look at these daily charts. Let's see what we find. Again, we are looking for a short-term bounce in the market where we're able to get back above this close from Friday. That should set up a nice little bounce the next day or two after that into earnings season. Market first, market first, market first. I am fading this market sell-off. That is a dangerous move. I am not doing this on a long-term basis. I am simply trying to find the best, strongest stocks so that when the market takes a little breather, I can buy these stocks. If you are a longer term swing trader, after this type of price action, you can only be thinking short side. I get a market bounce. That's when I'm going to be watching stocks to look for those stocks that are not able to get off the deck. Those will be great shorts so that when the market takes its next leg down, those will be my shorting opportunities. That's the mentality you should have right now. Unfortunately, the market is just chopping around. We're not getting any directional movement. Back and forth, up and down, big gaps, long candles each way. Look at this garbage in here. Down 50 points, up 50 points, down 50 points, up 50 points, down. How do you trade that? You can't swing trade that. You can short-term trade it. That's what we're going to be doing. The market's dictating what we're looking for. So after a nice sell-off like this, we're just looking for a tiny little bounce. We're looking for a seam. Let's find some strong stocks. So AAL, American Airlines, downward sloping trend line, breach to the upside, horizontal resistance, breach to the upside, earnings before the open, stock up, market down, able to hold this breakout around the $19.50 level. Hey, looks pretty dang good to me. ALK is another one. Not as good as AAL. DAL, not bad. Still horizontal resistance here. It has not broken out. Okay, I like clean breakouts where the stock is continuing to go through. And I often reference, I want Barry Sanders on the 50-yard line with no one ahead of him. Nothing between him and the goal line. He's going to make it in the end zone. Nobody's going to catch Barry Sanders. That's what I want in the stock. I don't want to be battling this and battling it and battling it. I want it through. AAL had already gone through. Here's a good example. There's my last resistance level. Stock gets through that resistance. Blue sky. Blue sky ahead. Hello, heavy volume. Love Dow. I think Dow's going to be a nice pick. If it gets any kind of pullback, it's going to be a really nice stock to own. So yes, I would put Dow on that list. Now we're flipping. We're just going to be going through. Big gap up, could fill in some of this gap. Yes, nice looking stock. IBM, love it. Got through this horizontal resistance beautifully, holding up extremely well. I think IBM's going to do fine, but you can see how that stock does tend to be pretty choppy. I keep going through the list. J&J, look at that strength. I love this stock. There's your earnings before the open. Gets through this horizontal resistance point at 172.50. Any kind of pullback in here is going to be a gift because as soon as the market finds support, it's going to go. Still looking for the one. Pretty long candle off the high here, so not a favorite. Just going through our list. That's a big reversal. Would not be getting long that. So you've got, yes, everybody loves the number. Not so much after that market drop. No, pulling back. Basic material stocks have been super, super strong, and they're giving back a lot. LMT, long-term upward sloping trend line. War is good for business. It's pulled off quite a bit from the high in here. Could be one to look at. Not going to be one of my favorites just yet. I've got a couple of others I already like. P&G, Procter & Gamble, PG is the symbol. Resistance at the high here. Very nice though. You can see good earnings reaction before the open. It's been able to hold all the gains from that earnings announcement. That's a pretty dang good sign. PLD, very nice upward sloping trend line here. Trying to preserve that horizontal support line right there. Was resistance, now support. PLD could work. Also has that upward sloping longer term trend line working in its favor. Click there, click there. That's a nice support level also. So any pullback and any opportunity to selling out of the money bullish put spread would work. PM, pretty decent. Philip Morris, Save, another airline. SLB, so this is a oil driller. You can see it's been compressing, holding up pretty well. STLD, beautiful chart. Look at that strength right in here. Nice, strong, upward sloping trend line. When I see these, I need to drop my alert lines. And there are other alert lines that you can draw as well. And this one would be a little bit more aggressive because it's steeper. And there's your support line right in there. So I want to see that $87.50 hold. That $87.50 level, I want it to hold. And it should hold. It's above the major moving averages, but that is nice, strong price action. Tesla, issue I have with Tesla is you can draw a downward sloping trend line here. Let's draw it in because I'm going to want to know if this is breached anyway. There's your high. There's your high. Let's go in and do the low now. Got a low right there. Got a low. Whoops. Drew that one incorrectly. But in any event, we've got a wedge forming here, and we want the stock to break out of that wedge. And until it's through this, we have to assume that it's going to stay in this range. It's got the major moving averages in here. It's going to be kind of flopping around. So Tesla, not one of my favorites. Could you sell an out of the money bullish put spread on it? On a pullback, you probably could, but I'd want to stay at least below that 200-day moving average. There's not enough strength in it for me to want to do anything. If I compare Tesla right now, although everybody loves Tesla, tunnel vision, I like STLD better. I like AAL better. Those are just better charts. UAL is the next one on the list. This is better. This has got some momentum. That's already broken through that horizontal resistance right there and that downward sloping trend line. It has blue sky ahead. Tesla does not, and that's why it's not as good a pick. So I've got to choose one of these. So I think STLD is about as good as we're going to find. Now, there is some fear that there's going to be a recession and that interest rates are going to be moving higher. That's why a lot of the basic material stocks are pulling back. But the demand for raw materials is still there. So I think this is going to be a fairly temporary reprieve for some of those basic material stocks that have run super, super hard. They will find support and there'll be decent opportunities at very least to sell some out of the money bullish put spreads. I'm not going to get into the option side of it for a couple reasons. Right now, I don't know if the market's going to find support today. So it might sell off and it might rally back to the open and finish above that level. And we could be taking a trade in STLD if that happens. It could take a week. Who knows what earnings season might be like? If we go 2 or 3 days without finding any support after some of the mega cap tech companies have reported, all bets are off. We start taking out support levels down here at the 416 level, you do not want to be trading from the long side. So, first and foremost is that close from Friday. If the market cannot get above that level intraday, no trade. Can't say that strongly enough. We're just playing a short term bounce. If it can do that, then here's the parameter that we want for STLD. That is a nice little horizontal resistance level right there. Now it is support. That was also the low of the day from Friday. So we want to make sure that that is preserved. So if the market is able to get back above the close from Friday, back above 426 on SPY, if STLD is trading above that low from Friday, which is, let's call it, it has to be above $90. 89.61 was your price. It has to be above $90. So if those two conditions are met, STLD looks like a great opportunity. Obviously, we want this upward sloping trend line preserved on a very, very short term basis. Yes, we're going to lean on that as well. I know everybody needs to have their stop. That's a support level. That's a support level. We get that nice strong market action and we start retracing some of this long red candle. STLD should find its sea legs. So if it can't get above that price point, if it breaches that price point, all bets are off. We're not even taking a look at it. Then we got to keep flipping and we have to start looking for our next candidate. So that's an exercise that you should be using when the market is falling apart. And here's why I'm doing this. I could come out and I could show you a bunch of shorts and I could say, yeah, this one looks good on the short side and this one looks good on the short side. By the time I record the video, by the time I put the video out, get everybody to watch the video, maybe 2 or 3 hours have elapsed. So here you are focusing on bearish stocks and you're loading up on bearish stocks, and then the market puts in a low and rallies and starts to continue upward. Uh-oh, even the best short will lose money as the market bounces. So what I'd rather do is let's paint a picture. Let's see if we can get a little bit of a market bounce into earnings this week. Let's see if we can do a very, very short-term trade, take advantage of it. Then this lesson will be another weapon in your arsenal. When we get that nice market rally off of that low, then I'm going to be waiting for that rally to stall, and then we'll come in and we'll take a look at some bearish stocks again on the notion that we're going to see market selling going into May because of the FOMC. And if earnings are not producing the type of results that everyone wants to see, that will also start to weigh on the market. After mega cap tech earnings, there's some air that's typically let out of the balloon anyway. Some of the excitement wanes. So we've seen some very, very heavy selling. I'm only looking for a short reprieve sometime this week. If we get one, I think STLD is going to be a stock that we can make a little bit of money on. Just as the stock rebounds, it rallies up to, let's say, the 92.50 level, maybe it gets to 93 or higher. Start taking some chips off the table. Take your gains. Get out of the trade. There's a short-term opportunity because the market may rally 1 or 2 days and then whoop, have another leg lower. So get a nice little market bounce. The stock continues to grind higher. Keep scaling out of the position. That's how I would play it. I hope this lesson helps you. And I've got some really good news. And the really good news is that there are a couple of posts on an excellent Reddit sub. I'm going to post links to those posts in the description area of the video today. It's a great sub. It's got so much educational content in it. The sub leader is acronym is H. Selden. He is relentless. He keeps posting educational content on a daily basis. Fantastic resource. I can't say enough about it, but you can read about the personal experience of two traders who've gone through the process, they've learned the system, and now they're documenting some of their journey and they're talking about how they finally have turned the corner and some of the processes that they use to put themselves in high probability trades. It should sound very familiar. They're members of Option Stalker. So excited to have them and many, many other traders finally seeing the light and seeing some positive results. If you can make money in this market right now, like this, you can make money in any market. Thanks so much for watching. Market first. Need to close above that low from Friday. STLD needs to start showing some relative strength. We want to see on a 5-minute basis that STLD, orange line above 0, that will be an indication of relative strength. Thanks so much for watching. Good luck with your trading.
Thank you for watching this YouTube video. I'm Pete Stolzers and I'm going to keep the trade ideas coming along with lots of education, so make sure to subscribe to the channel and please turn on your notifications so that you never miss another trade. If you like the content, please give it a thumbs up. I've loaded 2 other videos that I think you're really going to enjoy. Stay tuned. We'll see you soon.